Hello, 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 everyone. How are you? How are you? I didn't forget you were there. Were you waiting on me to say something? Oh, wow. All right. Listen, I'm coming to you again and happy to do so. You know why? Because you've entered the career series zone. That's right. This is the fall series, fall career series 2023. And believe it or not, I'll probably take the series leading into the end of the year. So it's entitled, of course, it's titled Fall Series, meaning, of course, we're talking September, October, November, and then we will hit the winter months, right? Right around the holiday season. So, yeah, but somewhere in between there, we obviously will have Thanksgiving as one of the major holidays. Ha, what else did I want to say today? First of all, thank you very much for checking out my live. I want you right away, don't forget, go ahead and subscribe. You probably see a little button. Just make sure you subscribe and share and like. It doesn't matter what order, but my preference is that you subscribe. So, of course, I'm trying to build my presence on YouTube. And I thank you so much for even joining me. If you're here on the live, that's fantastic. If you aren't, make sure you put hashtag replay. Let me know that you shared the broadcast, because again, I do appreciate anyone and everyone globally, because this will be shared globally on all social media platforms. And if you follow me, and if you haven't been following me, make sure you subscribe here. Also, go to LinkedIn and make sure you follow me on that page. LinkedIn, don't forget, the professional website where you can upload your resume, get a lot of good information, great information, in fact, from speakers, coaches. There are a lot of authors out there, and they do share their talent and they share their strategies. And I love sharing mine on that platform in terms of coaching, speaking, and all of the above. So, with that said, make sure also you check out my website so you'll learn a lot more about me and my hashtag stories of resilience. And trust and believe, I have a few. And most notably is the loss of my daughter when I was in my 20s. And again, lost my daughter to congenital heart disease. And this is something that I am on several platforms, and I usually can talk about it in different perspectives, because there are many people, believe it or not, who have gone through something similar. But again, I was, of course, much younger then and not as mature, and had to deal with things in a very different way. But it really made me understand what grief and loss is all about. So that's something that's a topic that I do talk about. If you have a group and you're interested in inviting me in, I will be certainly, willing to, let's talk it out and see if my background will fit. And of course, my personal story of grief and loss and my grief journey. So I do talk a lot about that, but I certainly be happy to listen to whatever you have coming up in terms of an event or a training or something like that, where it is centered around that particular topic. But as we're moving forward, so make sure that you check out my website, TJV empowers you, the letter u.com. Again, TJV empowers you, the letter u.com. That is my website. Make sure you use the letter U, not YOU. Okay, make sure. All right, that's why I say the letter u.com. TJV empowers you, the letter u.com. So now, one other thing where you want to subscribe, like, and share. A lot of my interviews that I've interviewed people on my podcast show. That's right. Did I mention that? Yes, my primary background is HR. Yes, I'm coming to you to talk about career and how to avoid the pitfalls, some of the things that I've done in over the years with my own career. Believe me, I've had hiccups along the way. And so I'm very passionate about talking about career development, professional development, organizational development, employee development, management, developing and helping teams to manage one another and the different strategies and processes that they have to go through while they are in an organization. So keep me in mind, hashtag corporate events, all right, and nonprofit. But in terms of career development, which is what we're going to focus on in my career series 2023. I've been doing this now for about 2 years. So I'm really excited to bring it back, bring it home, if you will, because I don't know about you. Let's get right into it and make sure if you want to send me, comment and all of that. And if you have also some suggestions or you've been struggling with your career and you're thinking about, or, you need a coach or a mentor, I am a certified life coach. I've been doing that since 2018. My primary focus, yes, is speaking to audiences. Yes, I am a motivational speaker with the heart, but I am an event speaker when it comes to hashtag speaker for hire. Just to be clear, I am a speaker for hire. Okay. So that's one of my first loves. My first passion is speaking. And then secondly, would be training. And thirdly would actually be coaching, but I do merge the two, three of them together. And now a podcast host for Speak to Me First podcast show. Speak to Me First podcast show. You can find it wherever you get your podcast. And like, share, and subscribe there. I appreciate you. And again, thanks to all of those who have already known me before you've seen my live. You follow me on Facebook and LinkedIn and X and Twitter and everything above. There's so many platforms now, Threads. And, I'm not on TikTok, so not yet anyway. But anyway, let's get right into it because I don't want to keep a whole lot of time going. Going forward, you're going to see a few, relatively short videos. I will probably, single out some strategies to help people think about the way that they are in their career search, their job search. What does it look like to you? Where are you really struggling? Do you think you need a coach or a mentor? I talked about that last week, right out of the gate. I came right out of the gate, start talking about you need a mentor or a coach. You may not think you need one, but it's almost a guarantee that you may need at least one of the two or even both. Because by the way, coaching and mentoring are two different things and two different dynamics. And the approach is different when you're speaking with a mentor and or a coach. And we won't get into that right now, but that's very easy to look that up to know what the differences are and how similarities they do come together to help you achieve your multiple goals. So with that said, tonight I wanted to talk about, in this particular series, last week we talked about having more than one career and all of that, but you can have multiple careers. And let's face it, are you happy? Are you excited? Or you're drained? You don't want to hear anything else about your career because you're so frustrated in your career. There's so many of us that are walking around frustrated in their career. You make good money, great, right? People say, well, salary good, check. Management good, check. You get along pretty much with your coworkers, check, right? Commute okay, whether you're commuting to work or you're remote. And either or, if you're frustrated with your actual job, then either or won't really matter whether you're commuting or not. Because there is a song, and I absolutely love this song. And it's an old song, but it's been out there for decades now, by Earth, Wind and Fire, one of my favorite groups. And I always love this song, and it's called Goodness gracious. One of my favorite groups. I can't remember the song, huh? Okay. I know you're laughing at that. Go ahead and send me the ha ha emoji. But basically, the first, and not grammatically incorrect or anything like that, but they just basically say, you know, isn't it funny how the way you look shows on your face, right? And you're always trying to hide how you really feel. And essentially that's what the songs are. They can see what you look like. It shows all over your face. You can say, oh yes, I love my job. Oh, how many of us really say, I love my job, I live for my job is my life. Now that's one thing I haven't said in all of the years that I have been employed, whether it was on a contract basis or full-time regular basis, with benefits and all the bells and whistles, my job has never, ever, ever been my life, because I really like the separation. So just let me keep that there. I like the separation. I don't want my job to be my life. I want my other areas of my life. I want the full life, the full effect, the full event, if you will. As a speaker, I'm always talking about events, right? Taking it to the stage. Like, let's face it. So we said all those checks. You said the salary was good. That's the example. I'm coming right back to it. You said the salary was good. The management was good. Commute was okay, whether you were working remotely or commuting in, because believe it or not, even when many of us went to the remote mode in terms of working, there were a lot of people, especially in the information technology realm, they were already working from home. So saying they were going to work from home was like, oh, well, I'm already doing that. So it wasn't a big deal. They just weren't around a lot of people in the workplace. And then that's a whole nother topic. Oh my goodness. That's why I love, hey, you got to love it. As a speaker and a trainer, I'm always thinking on my feet. Even when I say something, I'm thinking of what is my next thing to think of. But I'm going to bring it back home. I know how to rein my own self in, okay? But I got to tell you, so since you have your checklist, and then your checklist looks pretty decent, but how can it be better? And this is only a few things I'm going to leave you with today. Number one, hopefully you're not one of those people who you say, well, my job is my entire life, because I'm sure you have a beautiful life, a fulfilling life, but you should enjoy what you do for work, especially if you're working for someone else. Now, to shout out to all my entrepreneurs out there, they may be coming with a whole different ball game. It's like, well, that's why they got out of corporate, right? The traditional 9 to 5, so they can make their own hours, make their own decisions. But right now, I'm just kind of focusing on people who are currently in the workforce, right? A lot of my target audiences are seasoned professionals on mid to senior level, including executives who may not have been in their roles for a decade, meaning 10 years or above. So for me, it would be executives who most likely have been in their roles for 10 years or less. Okay. And that's who I'm talking to. And so what I wanted to say is that, think about this. If you put all those things and your checklist looks really good and you're fine with what I just mentioned a few minutes ago, then fine, you're fantastic, right? That doesn't mean you need to stop watching this video. Don't you dare. I need you to hang in here for a minute. The thing is, you know how things can be just taken from you? Things can disappear in about a second, like 1 minute. Just imagine this. You had the job, the commute, everything looks good, the salary is great. Let's face it, we all could use or want better salaries, right? But some of us actually are in a pretty good place salary wise. So you're not concerned about that. You're more concerned about the actual job that you're doing. That's who and what I want you to focus on this particular, live career series. And the reason why I'm saying that, I want to focus on that, is because you have to be prepared. I talked a lot about being prepared. Preparedness is key. It is essential to the success journey of your career development and professional development, personal growth and development. You have to be willing to put it all in, But I want to say this because tonight my topic really is about leaving it all behind. Hang in there with me. Leaving it all behind if you had to. Dot, dot, dot. If you have to. Mm-hmm. Let that simmer for a minute and see what you think. All right. You've simmered enough. Here I come again. What happens is, I want you to also be prepared so that if indeed there is a layoff due to whatever reason, a merger, a slowdown in the company. Right now, there are a lot of people still out of work, and some people are out of work because, for whatever circumstances, no fault of their own. Perhaps they were laid off, the companies merged, they're not rehiring. That's the only job they've ever known for years and years and years. Those are the people I love to coach as well. If you've been on a job for years and years and years and you believe you're all set, you're right there. Some of you looking at this right now, go ahead and say, yep, that's me. That's me. Some of you sitting and listening to my live and on the replay, put hashtag replay. You're sitting there thinking, she can't be Coach Toye, aka No Sugarcoating Coach, can't be talking about me because I know they would never lay me off, right? I know they would never strip me of my current salary. Again, I know they wouldn't just have us just go home and take some vacation unpaid. You think it can't happen? Unpaid. What are you going to do? Anything can happen career-wise. But when you are prepared, preparedness, as I said before, is key and crucial to continuing a successful career journey. And, getting started in a career is one thing, but how do you sustain your career for longevity? And even if the day comes that someone says, we're doing layoffs today, and it's usually not that real, it's just not that nice. Either they're going to lay you off via email. I mean, people have gotten emails saying, don't show up, the company's closed. I mean, you've seen it, right? Or you're getting yourself walked down the hall, or you're getting that you're getting that call, or someone's leaning over. I'm going way back now. I'm thinking about cubicles and wherever, if you're in a workspace, not working remotely, and they're walking over to you, some rep from HR, or even including your manager, who probably knew before you did. And they have to come and just kind of bring you into a meeting. And now you see 3 or 4 people sitting around, including an HR rep, director, manager, whatever level that they're on, depending on how large the company is, HR business partner, sitting in the room, and they're getting ready to actually lay you off. Now what? What do you do? What is your reaction? What is your first reaction? What is your second reaction? What is your third reaction? You can start going through the 5 stages of grief. One being in denial, in shock, and then denial at some point. You've heard it, they told you, but you're the person that was sitting there, and you assume that because you do your job so well, that there's no way that they would lay you off, right? Maybe your colleague in another department, possibly because they don't show up for work on time, or they're rude and belligerent, or what have you. They have behavior issues at work. Those are the people you say, oh, they're going to be gone real soon, right? Including some managers. But today, it happened to be your day. And that's when I say, but how do you think you would feel? You're going to have so much emotions you probably wouldn't know. Now, if you believe you had a clue all along, like I said last week, just piggybacking on that, Go back and look at that career series right out of the gate when I talked about, listen, if you start to see people moving parts all in your organization and you've been sitting there and you're just trying to, keep your head down, keep your head down, don't want to look up, don't want them to notice me. I don't want them to focus on me because, oh my goodness, I could be next in terms of a layoff, right? Nobody really knows. But you may have an inkling, and a lot, you know how people say, go with your gut feeling. It's your gut feeling. If you felt that way, then it's very possible, then that's what will happen. And again, not all the time. Or it could be something where they just need to move you from another department and they wanted to talk to you about it first because they're having some different internal issues, perhaps with other employees or one employee or a supervisor, manager, a team lead, you name it, whatever title, including an executive, that if that person doesn't leave, they're going to soon be shown the door. And they know there's a lot of internal things going on, and they just want to get your take on it to say, look, this is what we'd like you to do to help us stay on track, because you have such a great track record with that company. Now, and part of my title was Leave It All Behind. And the reason why I said that is, number one, what if you were, again, we're going to go right back. You're sitting there and they're telling you, okay, we're going to get everything from your desk. Don't worry about it. We're going to send it to you in a lovely box. And you've done some awesome work for us, but we just don't have it in the budget to keep you and 3 or 4 other people on the team. Maybe a possibility to bring you back, but you have to have some sort of emotion about that. So it's kind of like, well, I know that they're laying me off, but I don't feel bad because I was treated well the entire time. Can you leave everything all behind? Can you leave it all behind you? Good, bad, indifferent. Can you leave it all behind you? And that was the question tonight. If you were in that situation, can you strategize, emotionally? Of course, we can rein our emotions in as much as possible, but can you think about leaving something behind and moving on? Can you understand that that may be the sign for you to go to your next journey within your career? The beginning of a new journey, leading you into a new space of not just necessarily comfort, but a new organization, somewhere where maybe your talents at the current organization wasn't really tapped into, and you don't even know it. And there lies, with the coaching and mentor, that's how you can gain clarity when you're working with a coach or a mentor. I know this, right? Because I'm a certified life coach. But that's what my question was tonight. And that's in my title, Leaving It All Behind. Now, you probably heard it in a song somewhere, Leaving It All Behind. I won't sing tonight. Now, I can sing. I was part of a singing group, but I'm not singing the song about career journey. But I want you to understand that all you need to do as a strategy going forward, if you've heard nothing that I've said already, rewind and listen to me again on the replay. I want you to take whatever you've gained throughout your career. You've probably worked at multiple companies. That means you have a lot of experience. Even if you say, well, I only contracted there, or I was temporary there, or you did a B2B, business to business, you contracted your services out to someone and they had a project they wanted you to do, project management. You were only there for about 90 days, 3 months. And most often 90 days, 3 months essentially is typically a probationary period where the company gets to learn more about you, to see if you really are, indeed, will be a good fit And this is after the interview process. You've already been hired. But let's face it, there's always that cloud of uncertainty. Well, 90 days. Mhm. And I worked in HR for many years on the talent acquisition side, right? But now I focus on, uh, talent in employee development in that realm, career development for individuals and companies or for their employees. And so when you look at it from that perspective, you have to think about, well, what is in it for you when you're working at all these jobs, right? So again, I'm going to come right back to, can you leave it all behind? You've already laid the groundwork in most of the companies that you worked at. You left a great impression on managers, executives included. You've attended mostly all of the employee events. You did all of that. And maybe you received great recognition, and maybe you did not. Maybe you gained an award, maybe you didn't. Maybe they gave you a certificate for, great attendance or something like that, or the gold award, the starlight of it all, and maybe not. And that's why when something comes to a close at one place, you really want to start thinking of it as a door to open somewhere else. It doesn't mean because you're leaving the company. Remember, I said leaving it all behind is in the title for this particular career series presentation. You never really leave everything behind because psychologically, emotionally, you can't go to another job without thinking of the one you just came from. Just think about it. We go into jobs, right? You start a new job, and the first few sentences come out of your mouth, at least for a good 2 or 3 months, is, well, at my old place, they're right. We used to do this there, and we used to do that there. And this actually worked over there. I'm sure it could work here, and this and that. But you're focusing on everything that was behind. And what I want to say is, I don't mean with your experience. Of course, you take that with you. You know what you're doing, and you can somewhat integrate it into your new thing. But you want to leave the emotion part, right? And use your emotional intelligence part and piece. You want to try to leave a lot of that behind. And where you're able to separate your new role at a brand new company, organization, right? And then do your thing. Make sure you're shining at the new place. Because you know how they always say it, if you're looking in the rearview mirror when you're driving, we don't look in the rearview mirror because we have to focus on what is in front of us. And yes, of course, we have the side, there's somebody in the next lane and all of that. But the lane and the process is to go forward. And for the most part, when you do look back, you're like, oh my goodness, did I just pass my exit or something? Or is there a vehicle coming out of a space that they shouldn't be coming out of, and you may have an impact right there. So we try to avoid that, right. So we want to avoid the pitfalls and collisions of so much. We're so living in the past. We're still focusing on the job that we used to do. We're still focusing on how management was at the other company. You haven't left it behind. So how can you go forward if you don't leave it behind? Because again, it's past tense. And it doesn't minimize the hard work that you've put in any organization over the years. Because I may be talking to some of you, listen to this, you may have been on your job 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Some people say 50 years they've been on their job. And they're not planning on retiring anytime soon. A lot people are retiring later and later in life. So it's always good. What I'm going to say is, for me, I always like to be able to, if you leave a company, give a resignation notice professionally. And then, you know, you may have connected with one or two people at the job. Give yourself a minute, get into the new job, get into the phase, learn what you're doing. And then at some point, yeah, then you can keep them as for networking purposes. If you've developed those professional working relationships that actually worked, meaning people who actually have your back, they would root for you all of the time. Those are the people that are on my list. Those are the people that, if it's on the LinkedIn platform that I'm still in touch with till this day, that I haven't worked with them in 20 years. But, and one of them I actually coached. So, um, when I think about it that way, I know that I've left that job behind. I've left those things behind, but my talent and what I offered that organization and what I shared and was able to bring to the table at the organization, that never goes away. So don't misconstrue what I'm saying here in terms of strategy. I just mean about leaving it all behind so that you can move forward with your new destiny, career wise, professional, personal, and development. And you're going to be okay. You should find yourself in a good place. And yes, we can reminisce, we can do all of that. And when you finally network, which I love to do, network with former colleagues, and I even give them, shout outs on the platforms. It's a LinkedIn or it's a Facebook or what have you. And I'm bringing up LinkedIn even more because it's assumed to be the professional website where people are in the career and or entrepreneurship, realm. So you'll get a lot of feedback and you're like, oh, I used to work with that person. Oh yeah, let me check them out, and each other. And then if you happen to find yourself out of work, you can always reach back to them because they were always someone who was in your corner. So that's what I wanted to, that's my message for tonight. And I hope you had some great takeaways from it. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It says no sugarcoating coach. You know that already, right? And I will be bringing you more presentations throughout the Career Fall series. If you're interested in joining me live, let me know. Just I guess you have to send a request, of course. But if you have a background in HR, I would love to hear from you. Human resources. If you're an executive out there, an entrepreneur, entrepreneur with your own business or organization, whether you're based out of New York or the Atlanta area, Boston, Connecticut, Jersey, anywhere in between. All right. Because I've worked in those markets, but my home state is NYC, New York. But, hey, I'm currently based right out of the ATL, and that would be Atlanta. So again, if you have any questions or comments, please make sure you do that. But don't forget to subscribe, because that way, whenever I have a live video or any new videos or uploading any content from my podcast show, Speak to Me First podcast show, Speak to Me First podcast show, you'll see it here, including a Zoom video of the actual interview. That's right. All right. And then last but not least, do you have an event coming up and you're looking for a speaker? That would be me, someone who really cares about audience results. All right. On the topics, career development, professional and personal growth and development. That would be me, organizational development and employee development. So you want to build your teams, and we need somebody. They're losing a lot of their luster in terms of, they're just not shining. The employees aren't shining anymore. They're not motivated. They aren't this, they aren't that. Make sure you reach out to me, and you can definitely inbox me on LinkedIn, Toye Johnson-Vincent, your no sugarcoating coach, speaker, certified life coach, HR consultant, soft skills trainer, and podcast host of Speak to Me First podcast show. I appreciate you for listening and subscribing today on the Career Series 2023. I'm your host, Toye Johnson-Vincent. Don't forget to subscribe via YouTube. See you next time on the new Career Series 2023. Success, success is in your future. Bye for now.